gamers? I'm Jason.
I'm Julie.
And today on Dice & Dragons, we are going to be reviewing the Doctor Strange Hero Pack for Marvel Champions, the card game. Now, this is once again published by Fantasy Flight Games. This particular expansion was designed by Caleb Grace and Michael Boggs. Now, with that being said, Julie's going to take it away and tell you more about this expansion and maybe something else along the way.
Okay, I don't know what he thinks I have planned for you guys, but this is a living card game, and like the game for which it is an expansion, it is cooperative. It's intended for ages 14 and above, 2 to 4 players, and plays in about 45 to 90 minutes.
I think it's definitely based on player count and probably your characters. I think we both agree that you can definitely skew younger than 14 with certain characters. Others that are a little bit more complicated, you may want a little bit of an older player, or you'll have to maybe help out the younger ones just with some of the combos.
We'll get into whether or not we think this one is 14 and above, or if we can get away with a little lower when we get into our review.
Yes. Now, just to let you know, if you have not seen our review on how to play for Marvel Champions, a card will be popping up right over there. You should check that out. Unless, of course, Doctor Strange is your favorite character, feel free to watch this because we'll have another link to it at the end of the video. In Marvel Champions, you're going to be building a deck of cards using your hero-specific cards, some basic cards, and a different aspect, whether it's leadership, justice, aggression. After you've created your deck, I know I was probably missing one. Protection, yes. So after you've created your deck, you're going to then battle a villain. Actually, and I just remembered something. It's 1 to 4 players. This game does play well solo.
Okay, sorry about
that. No worries. It just caught popped into my head at the last second there. So in any case, you'll either be solo or a team of heroes taking on a villain such as Claw, Ultron, a lot of the famous villains from the Marvel Universe. You must defeat the villain in 2 stages. You also must stop their dastardly scheme from coming to fruition, because if that happens, well, you lose the game. You will also lose the game if all heroes are defeated. Now, with that being said, what time is it, Julie?
Well, it's time to grab our drinks.
Grab our fellow Avenger. Although you look more like a member of Alpha Flight with the Canada stuff. I do hope there's an Alpha Flight pack for this. That'd be really cool.
I have no idea what that is.
Canada's superhero team.
Okay, so we're going to take it to the table one more time.
Yep, one more time. Then we'll be back with our review. Now we're going to take a look at the components for the Doctor Strange Hero Pack for Marvel Champions, the card game. Now here we've got the rule sheet. We also get a pretty cool poster, image of Doctor Strange. Not quite a poster, can call it a mini poster. Now on this, it talks about the invocation deck, which is Doctor Strange's new ability and mechanic that's being added to the game. We also have the instructions on how to set up his deck below. And you can see he is a protection character. Well, you don't have to play in protection, but that's what you get in the hero pack. So we've divided up all of his cards. Here we've got Doctor Strange, we've got the protection cards, the basic cards, the invocation deck. Then, of course, we have underneath the stop deck just some new cards that are coming into the game. And over here we've got the negative cards, which include physical tool, and as you can see, Baron Mordo. So what we're going to do is we'll start by taking a look at Strange and moving through these different decks. So as you can see, he's an Avenger. His ability is Spell Mastery, so you can exhaust Doctor Strange and pay the cost of the top card of the invocation deck and resolve the special ability on that card. So we'll talk about this after we go through Doctor Strange. So we get Wong as an ally, so you can exhaust Wong, choose to either heal 1 damage from your identity or discard the top card of the invocation deck. That's pretty cool. Astral Projection, which is a thwart, so we move 3 threat from a scheme. Look at the top card of the encounter deck, and then for each boost icon on that card, remove 1 additional threat. That is one of the strongest thwart actions I've seen in the game. Magic Blast, deal 5 damage to an enemy, discard the top card of your deck, and then you get an effect based on what the symbol is at the bottom left-hand corner. Master the Mystic Arts. So a hero action, you can pay the printed cost of the top card of the invocation deck and resolve its special ability. Then place it back on the top of the invocation deck face up. So you can essentially choose to use a specific card multiple times if you've got a few of these, or just by using your regular ability. So Mystical Studies is an alter ego action. Search your deck and discard pile for a Doctor Strange card. Get that back to your hand. Protective Ward is an interrupt, so you can counter a treachery card. The Sanctum Sanctorum lets you shuffle a spell card from your discard pile into your deck and draw a card. That's an incredible card for a 1-cost support card, especially as a good alter ego action. The Cloak of Levitation gives you the aerial trait, and you can exhaust it to ready Doctor Strange. Magical enhancements, so you can put under any person's control, so you can boost anybody. The hero gets +1 thwart, attack, and defense. And then when the round ends, though, you do have to discard it, which is too bad, but be too good for a 1-cost upgrade. Then, of course, the Eye of Agamotto. Exhaust the Eye to generate a Mystic resource. So we've taken a look at the Doctor Strange deck. So let's see what these invocations are that he can cast using his ability or cards. So with the Crimson Bands of Cyttorak, stun an enemy and deal 7 damage to it. Well, that's pretty good. Place this card in the discard pile. Images of Icon, confuse the villain and remove 4 threat from a scheme. That's another good one. The cost is only 1 or 0. That's really good. 7 Rings of Ragador, give up to 3 characters each a tough status card. Then put in the discard pile. Vapors of Voltor, choose a status card in play. Replace that status with a different one. So that's pretty cool. So essentially you can change someone's boost, an enemy's boost to negative. And the Winds of Watum, draw 3 cards and then put it into the discard pile. Really like what we're seeing from those invocations. So here we've got Brother Voodoo, who took the mantle of Strange for a little bit there, becoming the Sorcerer Supreme. So the response after he enters play, search the top 5 cards of your deck for an event card and you get to add it to your hand. Clea, when Clea is defeated, shuffle into her owner's deck. That's pretty cool, so you can keep cycling her quickly. Iron Fist, so he's got 2 Mystic counters on him. When he attacks, remove 1 Mystic counter, and then you stun the enemy and deal an extra damage, so that's pretty cool. Desperate Defense, when your hero defends against an attack, he gets +2 for defense from that attack. If you take no damage from that attack, ready your hero, so that's a nice card. Momentum Shift, heal 2 damage from your hero, and then deal 2 damage to an enemy. Power Protection, we've seen before. Medical Team, so you can place this into play, and you gain counters that you can use to heal 2 damage from a friendly character. Night Nurse, exhaust the Night Nurse and remove 1 medical counter from her. Heal 1 damage from a hero and discard 1 status card from it. Pretty cool. Unflappable, that's a new card as well. So you can play it under any player's control. After you defend against an attack, take no damage and exhaust Unflappable, draw 1 card. Well, that's pretty good if you can block and not take any damage. So I really like that card. So here we've got a few other ones. Warning, so these are the basic cards. All the ones here you've seen before except for the Sorcerer Supreme, the title. So let's take a look at Warning. When a hero would take any amount of damage, reduce the amount by 1. Great way to get Unflappable to go off. And then Sorcerer Supreme, play only if you have the Mystic trait. You get +1 hand size while in hero form. That's a great 2-cost upgrade. So for the negative cards, we have Physical Toll, and all of these pretty much work the same. Exhaust Stephen Strange, move this from the game, and you have to flip to your alter ego. The negative effect for this is the next event you play costs 3 additional resources. Then you discard this obligation, so it goes to the discard pile, but it's not out of the game. Now Baron Mordo. Oh, we've got cards that are a little stuck together there. Let's see if there's anything on them. Nope, not sure what that was. So when he attacks you, discard the top card of your deck. Then you have to follow what happens down here based on the symbol you get. We get Open the Dark Dimension. So when revealed, place the top card of the invocation deck face down under this scheme. When defeated, you'll get that invocation card back. So that's pretty obnoxious. Then we've got Counter Spells. So when you play an event, cancel its effects, discard this card. Well, that's pretty obnoxious. And then Thought Casting, discard a card from your hand with the highest cost. Place threat on the main scheme equal to the printed cost of the card. In hero form, discard a card from your hand with the highest cost, and then you take damage. Oof. Mordo is definitely probably one of the stronger nemesis that we've seen. So you got the stop deck. On the back here, you've got all the details for Doctor Strange. Now here we've got just some new cards that get added to the game. Skilled Strike, when your hero makes a basic attack, it gets +2 attack for the attack. Foiled, interrupt when a boost card is turned face up during a scheme. Activation, cancel its boost. So, wow, that's a nice move to pull off. Then we get Iron Man, which is pretty neat. Reduce the cost to play each upgrade on Iron Man by 1. 2 thwart, 2 attack, 3 health. Strong addition to the leadership deck. And there you have it. We've gone through all of the components for the Doctor Strange expansion. Now keep it right here as Julie and I will be coming back at you with a review of this pack. So Doctor Strange, the Doctor Strange Hero Pack for Marvel Champions, the card game. What did you think of it? I know you love some of them, have been lukewarm on others, but we're getting them all anyway. We like Marvel, as you can see.
Yeah, I should have put on my Groot shirt, but that's okay.
It's okay.
That being said, so I was lukewarm to the character of Doctor Strange, and he's been growing on me.
Really weren't a big fan of him in his film, but that film slowly growing on you over time. You liked him more in Infinity War.
Yeah.
So I like the comics and the movies.
But I digress. We digress. When it comes to this this card game, I was looking forward to it because I was looking forward to seeing what they were going to do with his powers. I figured this could be an interesting expansion, and honestly, it doesn't disappoint me. I like the fact that his play mechanics are different from the other Avengers. I mean, there's that the fact that he has his spells, basically.
Yeah, the invocation deck.
The invocation deck.
She likes to make fun of me when I do things like that. That's okay. It wouldn't be a healthy relationship if we didn't poke fun at each other. I'll get you later.
I know you will. I have no doubt. So that being said, he has an invocation deck, which I think is a lot of fun, and it makes him powerful and gives a different dynamic. He's very well rounded. I found when I was playing with him, I found that he can hit hard. There are some certain spells that he can do that make him hit hard. He, as a healer, he can protect himself. He can thwart schemes. So it really is a well-rounded group of powers, just like the character is really, when you come to think of it. He's supposed to be the most powerful of them all, right?
Sorcerer Supreme. So it does make sense. The one thing that I also do like about it is, despite his power, you can get some draws where you're not going to be overly offensive. And I find that works very well. Like you might be more in a support role. So Doctor Strange is, like you say, very much an all-rounder. A lot of what you're going to be doing relies on that invocation deck and the cards you have in hand, because sometimes you can trigger those spells 2, maybe even 3 times in a turn, which is pretty cool. That can lead to massive damage, massive threat reduction. Other times you're going to be doing some things like completely buffing and even debuffing. So those are more video game terms, but you can basically boost characters with tough status cards, even turn the tough status cards that enemies have into things like confused or stunned. So that's pretty cool. And we definitely don't have anything like that in the game up to this point.
No, and that's it. And obviously, because it's a card game, and you alluded to it, depending on your draw, there are times, where you won't necessarily get, a lot of firepower, a lot of thwart power, or things like that. But you'll get something where you can support other characters. And I found that though there have been characters that we played with in this, that it would happen a few times that you'd get hands where you're like, well, I can't do anything, I'm not effective. I found that even though with Doctor Strange, even though there are times that I pulled a lot of cards that weren't awesome, I was always able to do something. So I was able to support you in an attack that you did at one point, and another time I was able to at least defend and basically regenerate, with some of the medical stuff that he has from his alter ego.
He's probably got the best protection deck that we've seen. A lot of the cards, like even if you're not a big fan of Doctor Strange, I'd recommend this just for that set of protection cards. I think they add a lot to the game, and they work really well with this character, especially the way that, with defense, sometimes you can draw cards, sometimes you can actually refresh your hero. And I really like the fact that his Cloak of Levitation actually lets you do a lot of cool things. And I feel that that's more thematic from the movies than necessarily from the comics. I haven't read a lot of Doctor Strange comics, so I could be wrong. But I gotta say, this is definitely, as Julie pointed out, I'll point out what you said earlier. This is an expansion that doesn't disappoint. You get the feeling of being the Sorcerer Supreme. He can do a lot of cool different things. He's perfectly well-rounded. And I would say almost, just because we've seen some 4-player games of this go very long, I feel like I'd almost always want Doctor Strange if I was playing like 3-4 players, just because of his abilities to boost characters and really control the board and be able to potentially pull some big moves that could really swing the game in one direction or bring it back from the verge of defeat.
So the only negative I have for this isn't really against Doctor Strange. More, I'd say that I think we've started to see that the heroes are much stronger than the villains now. I think it's been a couple of times now.
Well, not a couple. I'd say we've got how many packs? Counting them in my head. We got Cap, Ms. Marvel, we've got Thor, Doctor Strange, and Black Widow. So yeah, we're 5 packs in, and we've had 2 villain expansions. I'll say not all villains, because Green Goblin's still pretty brutal.
Yeah, so I still find, we didn't play against Green Goblin. We played against Rhino and...
No, just Claw this time.
Twice we played against Claw?
Yeah.
Okay. In any case, then, playing against Claw, it was easy. We played twice with, we just, changed characters, but we played with She-Hulk and Doctor Strange, and it really wasn't...
It was harder the first game than the second game. I felt that after we got the flow of it, and when you were playing Doctor Strange, we kind of just rolled through it. So I do agree with you. I would say that the heroes are definitely starting to outpace the villains, the ones in the base box specifically. I'd say except for Ultron, Ultron does still present a fair bit of a challenge, but I would say if you've played a lot of Marvel Champions, if you haven't moved on to, let's say, expert mode with the heroes, I'd say especially with heroes like Doctor Strange, Thor, Captain America, you probably want to start looking at playing on expert mode with those base box heroes. Not quite sure with Green Goblin or the Wrecking Crew, but we didn't find the Wrecking Crew to be overly challenging as well. They had some really cool new mechanics, so I'm not sure how they would fare against Doctor Strange. We were just a little bit pressed for time, so we didn't want to take them out.
So hopefully there's some new villains coming in the future.
Well, there was the new big box expansion that is coming. There was Rise of the Red Skull that's coming with a whole new set of villains, a few new heroes as well, so that should be changing up.
What heroes could there possibly be left?
Oh, there's lots of them. This one adds a Spider-Woman. Well, she was a Hydra agent that turned good, so you get Spider-Woman. I forget who else is in the box. Then there's the upcoming scenario pack, the Kang the Conqueror one. I'm drawing a blank as it was just announced, so I can't remember the name of it, but we have some cool new stuff coming, so safe to say that Marvel Champions will be getting to the table on a fairly regular basis, as will Doctor Strange. So, Julie, I think we've talked enough about the game as well as Doctor Strange. What do you think of this expansion?
It's definitely an 8 for me. It brings new mechanics, or a new play style, I would say, and he's definitely got some cool powers, so he's definitely a strong 8 for me.
I agree. This is an 8. This is a character I think you want to have in the game, just with the cards that you're getting, the new mechanics, and the way that they really capture the feel of Doctor Strange. I really enjoyed Black Widow in terms of the feel of the character, but if you compare sort of movie Black Widow with comic book Black Widow, she definitely feels more like comic book Black Widow, so she's missing just a little bit of punching power, I find. But that's okay in certain games. Well, not certain games. Higher player count games, a character like Black Widow constantly dealing with threat and things like that would be awesome. It's just not as much fun at lower player counts, whereas Doctor Strange, I think, is even a very strong solo character. I honestly think he probably could have nuked Kang. I don't think Kang could have stood a chance. With one of his invocations and his spell, if you play them all in the same round, you can do 12 damage to Kang in one hit. So that's kind of crazy when you think about it. Well, not like, Kang, Claw.
Yeah, I was going to say, and it's, reminiscent a little bit of Thor, like we said when we reviewed Thor. A little OP at times. So anyways, for me, definitely worth picking up.
Yep. Highly recommend this expansion. So what time is it now, Julie?
It's time to grab our... Oh, sorry. No, it's not time. It's time to remind you to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified when we have some new content for you.
Yes, and feel free to comment on the video, as Julie already mentioned, and down below in the video description you will find links to all of our social media feeds. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, if you'd like to see pictures of us playing Marvel Champions, the card game. There's a lot of them. We're covering all the content. There'll be pictures there of us playing as Doctor Strange. And then also popping up in front of us, there'll be a link to our most recently released video. And as promised at the beginning of the video, the one that is over there will be the link to our review and how to play of Marvel Champions. So now what time is it?
Now it's time to grab our drinks. Grab our fellow best friend and Avenger.
Yes. Most of the time the Avengers are best friends.
And we're going to keep playing games.
Well, yeah, we're going to keep playing games.
Definitely this one. It's one of my favorites. For those who've been listening to the video, I've been pretty consistent about the fact that I really love this game.
Yes, and when the game was announced, you said, that's on pre-order, right? I'm a lucky man.